With Hello Kitty Island Adventure coming to Steam and Nintendo Switch on January 30th, you'll be able to play on 3 different platforms. However, that also means if you're not already playing, you may be trying to decide which version to get or which platform to play on, so I thought it might be helpful to go over each platform, answer some of the questions I've been asked a few times, compare the costs across the different platforms, and then also look at that standard and deluxe edition in more detail. Let's start with what's the same. All 3 platforms have Friendship Island. This is where the story starts and mostly takes place right now. Friendship Island has 8 biomes, so you'll be able to explore all 8 biomes, including Cloud Island and Merry Meadow, regardless of platform. All platforms have full controller support, and that is actually the intended way to play the game, even on Steam. And right now on Apple Arcade, you can also play in touchscreen or mouse and keyboard, so it seems like maybe we'll see touchscreen support also on Switch and Steam, but we don't know for sure. One thing we do know for sure, there is no cross-save or cross-play on any of the platforms. Keep in mind when you're choosing your platform, what platform your friends are playing on. So if you're playing on Nintendo Switch, you'll only be able to play with other Switch players. If you're playing on Steam, you're only playing with other Steam players. And the same thing on Apple Arcade. Part of the reason for that is because it's very likely that at various points in time, the different platforms will be running slightly different versions of the game. In order for multiplayer to work, you need to be on the exact same version. For that same reason, you cannot move your save from one platform to another. So if you've been playing on Apple Arcade and you want to go play on Nintendo Switch or on Steam, you'll be starting a brand new save. So you'll have a different save for each platform you play on. And just like on Apple Arcade, each account you have on each platform you play on will have multiple save slots, so you should be able to play the game multiple times on each account. There will also be no microtransactions regardless of platform, and we'll be getting new events, new items, and new visitors, and free updates on all platforms. Now there are going to be a few things that are a little bit different across each platform. So if you're playing on Apple Arcade, the nature of Apple Arcade means that you can have not only multiple saves per account, but that those saves can be played simultaneously on separate devices. That means for me right now on my account, I have 2 different saves, but if I play one of them on my laptop and the other on my iPad, they can multiplayer together. Apple Arcade also allows you to share your subscription at no additional cost. So if you have a small group of friends or family, you could add multiple people to your account. You can all play the game, all have multiple saves, and play together. With Apple Arcade, there's no additional online access fees, and you can play your save across all your devices: Mac, Apple TV, iPhone, and iPad. However, you do need space in your iCloud in order to transfer your save. Updates on Apple Arcade are always going to be free and included, and any new updates to the game are gonna be on Apple Arcade first. So if you want to get new content first, Apple Arcade may be the choice for you, and it's currently available on Apple Arcade, so you don't need to wait. Another thing to consider with Apple Arcade, you can usually find free trials. For instance, when I started, and I'm pretty sure this offer is still available, you could get a 4-month free trial from Best Buy without having to buy anything, and that timeline gives you plenty of time to try out the game, see if it works on your devices the way you really want it to, before deciding to buy. On Nintendo Switch, you can have multiple accounts, and you can have your account on multiple devices. If you want to be able to do multiplayer, you're going to need multiple devices and multiple copies of the game. And you'll need Nintendo Switch Online for cloud save and multiplayer. On Nintendo Switch, you'll get a mix of free and paid updates. So the updates with the events, visitors, quality of life features, those are going to be free, but it sounds like there could be updates later on that could be paid. Updates on the Nintendo Switch won't come as frequently as they do on Apple Arcades, simply because of how the platforms work. At the time of launch, we will only see a digital release, so that means there will not be a physical version at release. So the physical version of Hello Kitty Island Adventure, the Deluxe Edition for Nintendo Switch, will be releasing March 25th, 2025. So at launch, only digital. The Nintendo Switch version has 2 versions of the game that you can buy. There is the regular version and then the deluxe. I'll break down the deluxe version in detail later in the video. They both have the same game content, but the deluxe version kinda gives you a head start, and you'll be able to play on Nintendo Switch starting January 30th, 2025. On Steam, it's similar to the Nintendo Switch. You'd need multiple copies and devices for multiplayer. It says on Steam that it supports Steam Cloud, so theoretically we should be able to port our save between devices. Just like on Switch, it sounds like we'll be seeing a mixture of free and paid updates, and those updates will lag a little bit behind Apple Arcade. So at the time of recording, we didn't know what the Steam pricing was, but while I was editing, it just got posted. So we do know officially now the Steam prices are going to be the same as the Nintendo Switch. So that's $39.99 for regular and $59.99 for deluxe. So we also have confirmation that Steam will have a Deluxe Edition, so you don't have to choose between Steam and Switch just to get the Deluxe Edition. You can have it on either platform, and as far as updates go, we do have confirmation that both PC and console will be getting free updates and potentially paid DLC. Keep in mind there are no finalized plans on paid DLC, and the intent right now is for all content to be available on all platforms eventually. However, release schedules will differ due to various platform and production constraints, and is a major contributor to why we can't have cross saves or crossplay, since the different platforms may be on slightly different versions of the game. And just like Nintendo Switch, it'll be releasing on Steam January 30th, 2025. So if you haven't looked at the pages yet, you're probably wondering how much does it cost to play? Well, here's the pricing based on 1 year. So to play the game for 1 year on Apple Arcade, it's $49.99, and all my prices are US dollars. You can get the base game on Switch for $39.99, and the deluxe version with those extra items for $59.99. So this pricing makes a lot of sense. It hits on either side of Apple Arcade. We see similar pricing on Steam. The base game for $39.99, and the deluxe version for $59.99. On Apple Arcade, remember all updates are going to be free, and you'll be getting content a little bit earlier. On Switch and Steam, we have a mix of free and paid. However, right now we don't have a really good idea of what the paid updates may be in the future, but it doesn't feel like something we'll be worrying about anytime soon. However, Apple Arcade is subscription pricing, so that is $49.99 each year. However, maybe there's 2 of you in the same household or share group, and you want to be able to play together. If you're playing on Apple Arcade, that cost stays the same even with additional users. On the Switch, we need to have 2 copies of the game and Nintendo Switch Online, which brings us up to almost $115. On Steam, you'll need 2 copies of the game, putting it at around $80. Apple Arcade will have that continuing cost of $49.99 a year, and then not counting any paid updates for Switch or Steam, Steam stays at the same price, but the Switch will have that continuing $35 a year. Suppose you have quite a few people who want to play, and they want to be able to play at the same time and have the option for multiplayer. In addition to having enough devices for everyone to play, on Apple Arcade the price is still that $49.99 a year. On Nintendo Switch, because we have to get more copies of the game, we're now at $234.94, and on Steam you're at $199.95. And so what the least expensive option is to play is really going to depend on your situation. If you're a household with multiple adults and children that you get up to that 5 players, and you have the devices for it, Apple Arcade may be the less expensive option, and currently it's the only option with a free trial for you to test out the game first. However, if you're buying the game only for yourself and you're not going to be playing multiplayer, then getting the base game on Steam or Switch may be less expensive for you, especially if you're going to play it multiple years. However, there are still some wild cards in here, pieces that we don't really know. We're not sure on the pricing or content for paid updates in the future on Switch and Steam. And on Apple Arcade, you want to make sure you have enough room in your iCloud account for your save file. But this gives you a couple ways you can look at the cost for the game. Whether or not the game is worth it or affordable is a question only you can answer for yourself. In terms of whether or not it's priced fairly for the game that it is, assuming that it runs well, I think this pricing makes a lot of sense to me. The Switch price is just on either side of the Apple Arcade price, and in terms of play hours, we're talking in the hundreds, not just 15 hours or 10 hours. So this is a big, substantial game, and it's getting constant updates with a really good balance, and it's backed by a highly attentive team who is constantly in communication with players, taking feedback, incorporating it into updates, and so far it's been really well run. So the game is substantial, it's detailed, it's well thought out, and thoughtful. So $40 price tag seems just right. However, I know that puts it out of reach for a lot of folks, or at least is high enough that you want to make sure it runs really well before you buy it. I think even if we see performance issues on day day one. Based on our interactions so far, I'm pretty confident that they'd be working to fix those, but I do plan to try it out on Nintendo Switch on my overloaded V1 Switch, so if there are any problems in the game, I'll definitely be able to see them on that Switch. And I'm planning to try it out on my Steam Deck to see how the Steam version runs on that. But right now the game runs really well on a wide array of Apple devices, so I feel like there's enough optimization there that hopefully it converts to the Switch and Steam Deck really well, but we'll have to wait and see. I'll try to stream both of them or at least have a video comparing them after it releases on January 30th. If you think you're going to be playing on the Nintendo Switch or on Steam, you're probably also wondering about that deluxe version. The Deluxe Edition comes with a ton of extras, but if you haven't played the game before or seen much about it, items in the bundle may not make much sense. So let's go through what's actually different between the Standard Edition and the Deluxe. So regardless of which edition you choose, you're gonna get the same game. They both start you out on Friendship Island with all 8 biomes, and you have all the same characters. The part that is different are these 3 bundles that are listed down here, and you get all 3, they're just naming them each bundles. There's something like 373 items included in this, and it's a full year's worth of event items. A little later in the video, I'll go through what all of those are. For the most part, we don't have a complete list, so there's a few elements in there I'm not 100% sure on, but I have a pretty good idea of everything this will include. And this does include clothing and furniture items, and it sounds like this likely also includes event outfits for the friends on the island. I think one of the most common questions I've gotten about the Deluxe is whether you can get these items in game in the Standard Edition or if they're exclusives. The intent in the game so far, and it doesn't seem like it's going to change anytime soon, is that nothing is exclusive. In the current version of the game, all of the events reoccur each year. However, each time they're updated with new items, new clothing, and sometimes new mechanics. But during those events, you can also get the previous year's event items by spending this year's currency at the shops. So this means even if you didn't get the Deluxe event bundle, if you play the 2025 Under the Sea celebration, during that event there'll be some way that you can still obtain the 2024 items. However, you typically have to play about 70% of any event in order to obtain all of the items. So depending on the balance of the events, it can be a challenge to get those past event items, especially in early game, because one of the current models for getting those past event items, when you buy them at the shop, they require some of the current event currency and some crafting materials. So if you're really early in the game, you need them for quests and character gifts, you may not want to be spending them on past event items. In addition to getting the past event items during the event, there's also an in-game mechanic that allows you to earn a currency during multiplayer that allows you to get one random furniture item from an event. That is currently one of the only ways to get these items in the off-season. However, this is also a mechanic I could see them changing up in the future, because as we get more and more years of events, we get more and more items. Some of these mechanics will probably need to expand so that players can continue to get items from past events. So yes, you can get all of these event items in the game, even without the Deluxe Edition. However, I think there's 2 important things to consider here about why I was so excited to see these in here. First, in order to have gotten these items in the game, if you were actually playing each one of these events, you would have had to log in for something like 70% of each of those events, and probably even longer than that because you have to hit the right cutscenes and the right days on your daily login bonus calendar in order to get all of these items. And with very little downtime in between events, that means logging in and playing for probably about 70% of the past year. So not only is it a lot of items, but to me, knowing the time that goes into playing all of them and that you would need to do that year-round, and knowing that people naturally take breaks from games, I really appreciate that there is a way to have already played in every season and every part of the year. I see this as a much easier way to get all of those event items, and given the amount of playtime that goes into obtaining all of them, for me this is a really good deal. I think this is also something to consider if you're somebody who's not going to play every day or might take a month off and miss a 2-week event, particularly if there are certain characters that may be visitors in the game that you know you'd really want to get and you'd want to get them as soon as possible. Because another thing to keep in mind In addition to the core characters, we have visitor characters. These characters have various requirements for showing up on your island, but once you've unlocked the ability for them to show up, you need to design a cabin for them that meets their requirements. And there are several visitors who require event furniture, and the only way to get that event furniture typically is going to be to play during the event. Could mean that you could get some of those visitors before you've actually played the event. It also means if you happen to not play during one of the events and there's a visitor who needs items or clothing from an event, you may have to wait until next year before you can get them. But if you have the Deluxe Edition, you don't have to worry as much if you want to take breaks from the game. You'll at least have some event furniture for getting those visitors, even if you don't have the current items from that event. And so having the event items as part of the bundle gives you a little bit more flexibility with the way that you want to play. And of course, if you really like to decorate or just like some of the outfits or want to be able to give the characters different looks, this also gives you that flexibility right away. It's going to take me a little bit to go through all of the items that are included there, so we'll do that after we talk about the next two parts. I talked about some of these in the release date video as well, but just in case you didn't see that or you forgot what these were, let's go through all of these too. In the starter bundle, we have a bunch of items, and if you're looking at them not having played the game, you probably have no idea what these are. These are helpful items for 3 different mechanics in the game. So let's talk about those mechanics. In the game, leveling up friendship with the characters is the key part to advancing the story, unlocking quests, and unlocking tools in the game. In addition to doing quests, a key part of leveling up friendship with a character is giving them gifts. Hopefully I'll have a whole separate video about the gift giving mechanics and how to level up friendship as quickly as you can. But for right now, the critical component is that you can only gift 3 items to each friend each day. The first 2 items on here, the friendship blossoms and the friendship bouquets, give you ways around that 3 gift limit. And usually in the game, you can only hold 3 friendship blossoms and 3 bouquets at any time. And you're typically only going to get about 1 a week through login gifts. However, with the Deluxe Edition, you're starting with 10. After you've given your 3 gifts to a friend in a day, you can then give them one of the friendship blossoms, and it'll allow you to give them 3 more gifts on the same day. And if you wanted to, you could keep doing this and use up all 10 of your friendship blossoms on a single friend if you had enough items to gift them. And this is very useful, especially early game, because some of the key tools and quests are going to be locked behind different friendship levels. So if you're able to level them up just a little bit faster, that can let you get to some of the content days earlier. However, the game is also very well balanced, so you don't need to be doing that. But if you're somebody who says, I have 12 hours to play today, or I know I'm only going to be playing these 3 days and then I'm not going to have very much time, this gives you a way to keep on playing. And that's a lot of what the items in the starter bundle do. For instance, the number 1 question you're going to be asking me once you start playing this game is probably going to be, how do I swim underwater? And you need to level up friendship with Kuromi. And so if I have my friendship blossoms, I'll be able to level up friendship with her faster. I'm going to be able to swim underwater faster, and that's going to get me to new areas, new items, and new characters. And it's just going to do it faster. You can do everything in the base game too. You don't need to do things faster. It just changes up the pace and gives you more choices. So for somebody like me who's played this game for 1.5 years now, not having to wait for some of the content will be really nice. And of course, there's a video guide on the channel all about diving, and later, how to become a mermaid. The 3 friendship bouquets work very similar to the friendship blossoms. However, instead of gifting them to a single friend, after you've gifted everyone you can for the day, you can use the friendship bouquet from your inventory, and it'll reset gifting for all the friends on your island. That means you'll be able to go around and give everyone 3 more gifts, assuming you have items you can gift them. And on the first day, you might not. The next mechanic to know about are resources. So there is a ton of stuff that you can pick up all over the island. So if you love wandering around, exploring areas, and picking stuff up, this is so your game. You don't have to chop trees or anything like that. You're just gonna pick up sticks. You don't have to mine for gems. You just ride a roller coaster and pick them up along the way. But nearly all of the resources and everything on the island respawns once every 24 hours. And that's at Island Reset. Island Reset for this game is midnight Mountain Time. That's 2 a.m. Eastern. So if you need 1 more piece of rubber for a quest, and you don't have anyone else you could trade with, you'll have to wait until after Island Reset on the next day before you'll have any more. And I cannot stress this enough, cannot time travel in Hello Kitty Island Adventure, I'll put this in the tips video and I'll make a separate one. Always make sure that your device is synced to real time. Do not change the time on your Switch or on your device, whatever it may be, to try to get more resources, or try to go to another event, or try to get a particular visitor, or go to the next day so you can do the next part of the quest. It can ruin your game, and because of the ways in which it can ruin your game, you can also be banned from multiplayer. So it is not worth it. So do not time travel. It is not Animal Crossing. You need to make sure that your device is set to real time before you open the game. The reason I'm telling you about this mechanic is because those island bouquets, you can use them from your inventory after you've collected all the resources you need to collect on your island, and it'll respawn just about everything like an island reset. Now these don't work on your event currency anymore, and they don't regrow flowers, but any of those other standard resources that you pick up like iron, rubber, sticks, fruit, all of those will respawn all over your island, and then you can go collect them all over again. So this is a great workaround if you don't have as many as you need. It is also something that you only want to use if you have enough time to really make use of it. But if you do get a little bit ahead because you're using some of those friendship items, this gives you a way to balance it with the resources you're collecting. The other mechanic that's relevant here, all over the island there are visitor cabins for the visitors to stay in, and that you can decorate yourself. In order to repair them, you're gonna need strawberry crates. You can find strawberry crates all over the island. They are limited in number and they don't respawn. You can now earn strawberry crates through weekly quests, and I think we sometimes have them on login bonus calendars, but it can take a while to amass very many of them, and some of the visitor cabins can get pretty expensive. So if you end up opening up a bunch of cabins in one area and then finding out that all the visitors you could get need to live in a different area, you could find yourself kind of short on strawberry crates. So it's a nice bonus to start with 50. The last section on here is the crafting bundle. This includes some really key resources for early game quests like sticks, iron, and rubber, and then you also get 50 of each color dye. You can use dye to dye a lot of the clothing into different colors, and you can customize furniture. It'll take a few quests and additional characters before you're able to actually use it, but in order to get dye in the game, you'll be able to collect a very tiny amount of it. However, the main way I've gotten dye in the game isn't really available to you until a little bit later on. One of the main ways to get dye in the game is from the friends. However, in order to get it from the friends, you need to have maxed out friendship, so you're best friends with that friend, and then when you gift them, they'll give you character boxes in return, and when you open them, you have a chance at getting certain colors of dye, and the colors align with the colors of the characters you're gifting, which is one of the reasons why right now I only have 2 gray dye, because none of the characters gift us gray dye right now. There is an additional way you can get dye in the game by recycling items, but if you're early game, you probably don't want to be throwing away your items into the recycler for the hopes of getting the dye that you're looking for. So being able to start with 50 of each color gives you a huge head start on customizing. And so I think this bundle works really well for 3 groups of people in particular, but could be helpful for just about anybody playing the game. I think for those of us who've played the game before on Apple Arcade and are used to having items and have already played the early game with very fresh eyes, this kind of gives us a boost to put us a little bit closer where we are in the game, since saves don't transfer. I think this is also really helpful if you're a completionist or a decorator and you want to have all the things. This gives you so many customization options really early on, and it gives you the opportunity during the events to focus on new things and getting duplicates of old things. And then I think this is also a really helpful bundle if you want flexibility in your gameplay, because this can let you go faster or slower without really missing out, because this bundle actually gives you the ability to play the game a little bit faster or play the game a little bit slower and take it more at your own pace and take breaks from the game. A lot of the stuff in the second part allows you that flexibility in your gameplay, and that could mean that you want to use a bunch of your friendship blossoms early on, get to some of those quests faster, or it could mean you You want to play today, but you don't want to play for the next 3 days, but you still want to be at the place you would have been at had you played those 3 days. And with some of those items allowing you to gift multiple days in one, collect multiple days worth of resources in one, it kind of gives you the flexibility to be able to do that and gives you the potential to get some of those visitors sooner and get some of the quests sooner. But it also gives you the flexibility to miss an event entirely and still be able to get that visitor later. And that's where I think they've done a pretty good job with what they've included in that Deluxe Edition to recognize Apple Arcade players that are transitioning over, to give players an option to start out with a more customized game from the beginning, and especially to build in added flexibility both for the players who want to binge play and those who want to take their time. And so in my initial video when they first announced this, I said I already knew I was going to be going for the Deluxe, and that's because it comes with so much practicality in the game. And the added $20 for me, if I think of it in terms of my time that it would take me to do all of these things without the Deluxe bundle, it's easily worth the $20 for me. Everyone's budget is different, everyone's situation is different. So it's also really important to know that you're not missing components of the game, you're not missing out on characters, you're not missing out on areas, and you're not missing out on items or clothing by sticking with the Standard Edition. So if that's something that you're really concerned about, because the Standard Edition is really the only one that fits in your budget, you're still gonna have access to everything. It's just gonna take more time. One thing to keep in mind, particularly for Switch players, I don't know for sure how this will work for this game, but for other games that I've played, if they have different versions like this, once you bought one digital version of the game, Nintendo doesn't seem to allow you to buy another version of the game. Based on my past experience, I don't think the eShop would allow you to buy the Standard Edition now and then upgrade to the Deluxe version later. Other platforms are sometimes different, so I think that's another thing to keep in mind if you're on the fence between the two. I mean, I would just go for Deluxe if it's within your budget. If it's not, don't. So that's something else to keep in mind. It doesn't seem like upgrading later is going to be a possibility, but you never know. It's possible that this game works differently. It's possible that they add a way to get those items through an additional purchase. Right now, looking at the way it's set up, it doesn't seem like that's going to be the way it works. So that first item in the Deluxe Edition is that event bundle. I said later in the video I'd look at everything in that event bundle, so let's do that now. So I've been told there's about 373 unique items in here, and that's covering 1 year of events with clothing, furniture, and other cosmetics. It sounds like those other cosmetics are going to include outfits for the characters. So let's look at what these items probably are. I'm nearly certain on most of them, but there are a few items that I'm not so sure on, and a few events that I'm not quite sure if they'll be included or not. But if you want to see all of them broken down by event, you could also go through all of the event guides on the channel before 2.0 came out, and that would also give you a pretty good idea. While I've collected all of these items myself and I have all the different guides for all of these events on the channel, I am referencing the official Hello Kitty Island Adventure wiki to help me with these collections. One of the clothing only events is Frosty Fashion Frenzy. This included the Frosty Cream Sweater, Frosty Cream Hoodie, Frosty Blue Skirt, Frosty Cream Skirt, Frosty Blue Sweater, Frosty Blue Hoodie, Frosty Blue Beanie, and the Frosty Cream Beanie. The Luck and Lantern celebration in 2024 was dragon themed, so we had a dragon hat and costume, a lantern sweatshirt, which is one of my favorite clothing items. Kind of a hoodie dress that also lights up a little, silk tee top, the silk tee skirt, and then the dragon room divider, Luck and Lantern event stand, the flooring, the lantern, the pearl display. The dragon floor pillow is probably my favorite item in here. Dragon tea set that I think a lot of people like, the tea table, the Luck and Lantern wallpaper, and the standing paper lantern. The Hugs and Hearts event had the heart bow, the sweetheart dress, the rockabilly suit, the draped caftan, and the love bug hat. For furniture items, we had the heart balloon bouquet, the heart bed, the heart double bed, the heart dresser, the Hugs and Hearts habitat, the Hugs and Hearts flooring, the heart lamp, the heart plant bouquet, the heart side table, and the Hugs and Hearts wall. I'm a little bit less sure on whether or not the Happy Haven days may be included. It is during the time frame, but it's also a really short flash event that is only clothing. So there's the Happy Haven gown, tux jacket, slacks, and crown. Then we have the springtime celebration. This includes a male and female springtime kimono, the springtime sakura hair clip, which I really like, the crafting plans, and then for the furniture, we have the large springtime bridge, the small springtime bridge, the small springtime bush, the springtime floor cushion, the springtime flooring, springtime torii gate, the springtime standing lantern, the picnic blanket, pond, a sakura bonsai, a sakura pond, a small sakura tree, stepping stones, stone pedestals, and a wall. For the Color Blaze Carnival, we had a skirt, a blouse, a draped outfit, a dress, and a marigold tiara. For the furniture, we have a coffee table, a dining table, dining chairs, a dresser, potted plant, sofa, ottoman, armchair, a bed, flooring, a nightstand, a side table, wallpaper, a bookcase, and a double bed. The Imagination Celebration had a ton of clothing, and a bunch of it could be dyed. So that includes the princess hat and dress, which can be dyed into blue, green, ice cream, orange, peach, pistachio, and sky. And we have those same color options for the dress. Then you also have the wizard hat and robe, which can be dyed into blue, violet, green, hot pink, orange, peach, pistachio, red, sky, and ice cream. Here are those color variations in the wizard's robe. We also got a suit of armor, which can be dyed into blue, violet, green, hot pink, orange, peach, pistachio, red, sky, ice cream, and bronze, gold, and black. In addition to those, we have character outfits for our character to wear. These include the Hello Kitty princess hat and dress, My Melody princess hat and dress, and the Kuromi princess hat and dress. In addition to this, if they do include the character outfits, which I think they will, you would have the option of having Hello Kitty, Kuromi, and My Melody change into their princess outfits for regular gameplay, having Cinnamoroll change into the knight outfit, and having Pachako wear the wizard outfit. Furniture for the Imagination Celebration includes the event stand, wallpaper, flooring, stone column, stone sconce column, stone block pedestal, the mystic stone display, the royal bed, the royal double bed, the royal chair, a long stone table, the stone half wall, the brazier, little metal basket full of fire, and the banner. For the month of May, our Gudetama themed celebration, we had the Gudetama egg onesie, the shirt and tie, oversized hoodie, egg dress, and the sushi hat. For furniture, we had the Gudetama armchair, bed, double bed, bookshelf, coffee table, dining chair, the dining table, the dresser, the egg chair, which does look like an egg from above, the Gudetama lamp, mirror, ottoman, the mini shrine, the Gudetama side table, which looks like a bowl of noodles, the sofa, the wall, and floor. For the Under the Sea celebration, you have the mermaid top, the mermaid shell armor. That koi tail here looks like a pair of pants, but it turns into a mermaid tail when you're in the water. Clamshell backpack and the shell hairpiece. And all of these things can be dyed. So for the mermaid top, you have white, violet, orange, blush, lime, red, sky, and black. You have similar colors in the shell armor, and you have variations of those colors in the koi tail, similar colors in the backpack, and similar colors for the hairpiece. And then the Under the Sea celebration also has a ton of furniture. So we have the Under the Sea armchair, armoire, bed, double bed, coffee table, 3 different coral planters, the lamp, mirror, sofa, the reef half wall, the event stand, the reef pedestal, the reef column, and then the flooring and the wallpaper. And this wallpaper is animated, a little white fish that swim by. It's one of my favorites. Then we have the Summer's End celebration, which in its second year was called the Sunshine celebration. This had a ton of clothing because of how many different colorways it could be dyed into. So you have the ruffle top, the visor, the wrap towel, and the lifeguard hoodie. So the ruffle top comes in rose red, purple gray, off-white, summer, bright, I thought was bright teal, gray, pastel blue, teal, black, cotton candy, tan, and pink. I'm not 100% sure on the color names that are on the wiki, but you can see that the visor also comes in a ton of different colors. And I feel like maybe some of the color names have changed with different versions of the game. The wrap towel comes in a whole bunch of different stripy colors. Then we have the lifeguard hoodie. It comes in a bunch of colors that match the visor. And then the Summer's End furniture includes a beach ball, a beach chair, a hammock, lifeguard chair, a neon palm light, sandbox, and a surfboard. Then we have the spooky celebration, and a bunch of this clothing comes in multiple colorways. So you have the monster overalls, the patchwork gown, the Halloween jacket, the bat bow, which is maybe my favorite hair accessory. It actually flutters a little bit, the midnight monster beanie, midnight monster overalls, the teal patchwork gown, the old Frank Franken hat, the old Frank Halloween jacket, and the simple bat bow. Here are those colors for the monster overalls. Here are the colors for the patchwork gown. The jacket also comes in a few different colors. And here are those colors for the bat bow. For the 2023 Spooky Celebration furniture, we have the Spooky Celebration accent table, the armchair, which looks like a purple bat with a little moon throw pillow, the Spooky Celebration bed, the bookcase, cauldron planter, the desk, the dresser, the fence and the fence with lights, the fireplace, ghost decor, the gravestone, the mirror, ottoman, which looks like a little happy spider, pedestal, the pedestal lantern, the podium that has a little book on it, the pumpkin deco, the scarecrow, side table, the event stand, the table, the wallpaper, which has this purple on purple ghost pattern, and the Spooky Celebration flooring. For the paper parade, all the clothing was dyeable, so we have the paper parade dress that you can dye into a whole bunch of different colors. The parade vest can be dyed into similar colorways. There are paper parade pants to go with that, also dyeable into a ton of different colors. We have paper parade glasses, which look a little like 3D glasses that also come in a ton of different colors, and the paper parade wings can also be dyed. There's also a pinwheel item that you can wear in your hair. It comes in a bunch of different colors. And then there's all of the paper parade furniture, and most of the paper parade furniture can also be customized into similar colorways. So we have the flower arch, the heart arch, the rainbow arch, and then large and small paper boxes, large and small paper flowers, paper butterfly lamp, mini parade float, and a paper pinwheel. For the Give and Gather celebration, you have the gingerbread beret, the derby hat, the dress, the jacket and slacks. The furniture was all candy cane and gingerbread themed, so there's the candy cane archway, the chair, the candy cane decoration, the candy cane fence, the candy lamp, candy stool, the gingerbread bed and double bed, which look like sleighs, the gingerbread tree, which is a giant cookie tree, gingerbread flooring, wallpaper, bench, the Give and Gather cookie plate, the Give and Gather tree, and the gumdrop fence. Now in addition, we also got character sweaters. I'm not sure that the character sweaters are going to be part of the deluxe bundle because of the way that they're integrated into the event, so there may also be character sweaters in the deluxe bundle. Then we have the 2023 Lighttime Jubilee. The clothing for this event includes a Lighttime bomber jacket, sleeveless top, pants, skirt, and the flower is a little hair accessory, and most of these things also light up, or at least shine. For the furniture, everything lights up, and a lot of it even changes color. There's the Lighttime Jubilee display, the wallpaper where the entire wall lights up and changes color, the flooring, an archway, a star archway, a mirror, dance floor A, dance floor B, a sphere light, a heart light, and a starlight. One of the events that may or may not be included is the Friendship Festival. Given the timing and the purpose of this event, I'm not quite sure if it's going to be included or not. There is what appears to be a promotional image on one of the wiki pages that shows items from this event alongside some of the marketing material for the Deluxe Edition. However, the Friendship Festival came after the 1-year anniversary, and I have not been able to verify the origins of that image, and it is not unheard of for the promotional images for this game to include items that are not yet available. So if these items are available, they include a ball gown, tuxedo and top hat, a tiara and a crown, and then outfits themed around the characters. These include character themed outfits for your character and a matching option for the friends to wear. We don't know yet if this event is included. We don't know yet if they will only include the outfits for our character, or if the friend outfits may also be included. Another event that may or may not be included in the Deluxe Edition is the Jam Jamboree. The Jam Jamboree started right before 2.0, but after the anniversary, there is what looks to be a promotional image in the wiki that I have not been able to find anywhere else that does show Jam Jamboree clothing, and it's included alongside the official photos from the Deluxe Edition. So again, I'm not certain that this stuff would be included, but it seems like there's a pretty good chance. I know for some folks this is very much in their style. So we have the clothing items, and the clothing items can be dyed into a ton of different colors. So we have the straw hat, overalls, a bonnet, dress, and a bow. That bow sits right in the middle of the character's head. In addition to clothing for you, if we're including the character outfits, which I think we are, Hello Kitty, My Melody, and Cinnamoroll have Jam Jamboree outfits. So each of the player character clothing pieces can be dyed into apricot, blackberry, blueberry, currant, gooseberry, grape, peach, raspberry, rhubarb, sky, and strawberry. So everything in this collection matches. So you can see the hat comes in all those different colors. Each one has the base color and then some little polka dots. And then the bow comes in similar colors, and each one is going to be plaid. For the straw hat, it's the ribbon around the hat that changes color. The Jam Jamboree furniture includes a jam barrel, just a large barrel full of smaller jam jars, a bench with a little strawberry on it, a berry bucket which you can put on tables. But of course, it's Hello Kitty Island Adventure, you can stack pretty much all of the furniture. The crate display that has some different items in it, the event stand that you can put items on, the Jamboree spool table, the Jamboree Jam spool table, the Jamboree wagon, and the wallpaper. And many of these furniture items are also customizable. In fall 2023, we had a clothing-only event. You only got the items through a login bonus calendar. This was the fall fashion frenzy. It included the autumn witch dress, the autumn witch hat, the autumn critter catching pants, vest, and hat, autumn scale mermaid tail, mermaid armor, and mermaid tiara, which means you could start out with mermaid gear in the game. And there's the dreamy autumn sweatpants, beret, hoodie, skirt, and newsy hat. We had 2 additional events that appeared only once in the game so far. However, they occurred after 2.0, so I'm going to assume that they will not be included, and that's the Hello Kitty 50th anniversary event, and then also the Days of Plenty event, which has some really great furniture, but I'm pretty sure that these 2 would not be included. And I talked about how having all of this furniture early in the game can help you with some of the visitors and some of the quests that come with those visitors. So let's take a look at what that's like. So most early game visitors are not going to need event-specific furniture, but since they will require furniture, having any furniture at all could help you with some of those. However, let's talk about some of the visitors who do require event furniture, just in case that makes a difference for you. And keep in mind that sometimes visitor requirements and their traveling cycles can change. One of the visitors who does require event furniture is Nina, one of Wish Me Mel's friends. Nina is not going to be one of the first visitors that you unlock. You actually have to have moved in additional visitors before you'll be able to get her. But once you are ready to set up her cabin, she is going to need furniture from the Spooky Celebration, Give and Gather, Luck and Lantern, the Springtime Celebration, and the Imagination Celebration. And that means you need to have played through most of the spring and in the month of October. So depending on when it is that you're starting to play, and I'm not quite sure how long it would take before you get to the point where you could set up Nina's cabin and have her visit, having the event furniture as part of the Deluxe Edition means that you wouldn't have to worry about whether or not you played during those events. To get Baku, who you can get much earlier in the game, you need 5 Spooky Celebration furniture items. However, currently Baku only travels in the fall, so you'd still have to wait till fall. So in this case, you're not getting nearly as much of an advantage, unless you're not going to be playing in October, and then you could still get Baku during the fall. A fairly early game visitor is Tam, one of Tuxedo Sam's brothers, and he requires Summer's End or Sunshine Celebration furniture, and he travels only in the summer and in the winter. So if you wanted to, if you did have the Deluxe Edition, you may be able to move him in sometime this winter instead of waiting for summer, or move him in earlier in the summer instead of waiting until the Sunshine Celebration returns. Another character who needs event furniture, and possibly the first one you'll see if you play at launch, is Macaron. She'll need 5 items from the Hugs and Hearts Festival. This is a shorter event in February, so if you missed it, you would have to wait until February of next year to be able to get those items, assuming you don't trade for them. She does only travel in the spring, so if you wait to start the game until the summer, you'll be waiting until about February anyway to get those Hugs and Hearts items. For reference, last year Hugs and Hearts ran February 8th through February 20th, so if you know you might take a break from the game for that long but you do want Macaron to move in, the Deluxe Edition gives you a workaround for that. Or if you're starting the game, say, early March, Macaron will be traveling in the spring, but you wouldn't be able to move her in until you get those items. At the same time, she's not a consequential visitor, she's just a nice to have, so waiting until later isn't really a big deal. A visitor who is very, very late stage is Poron, and to get Poron, you're going to need event clothing. And while you could trade some of your furniture from the events, trading event clothing in the game requires you to get to level 13 friendship with a real-life player over a series of several months. So for Poron, you're going to need Nighttime Jubilee clothing, Hugs and Hearts clothing, Color Blaze clothing, Month of Meh clothing, Paper Parade, and Friendship Festival clothing. Now if you start playing in launch and you log in every day, you'll end up with Hugs and Hearts in February, Color Blaze the month of Meh, the Paper Parade in spring and early summer, a Friendship Festival later in the summer, but then the Nighttime Jubilee is late December, early January, so you could be waiting on that one, or if you miss out on some of these shorter events, you might have to wait until next year. However, because Poron is such a late stage visitor, you need to get all the other friends from Cafe Cinnamon before you can get her. It may take you that long before you get to the point with all of the quests where you could unlock her anyway. I haven't done the math on it, but you may be able to get her earlier with this. But even if it's not much earlier, I think the main thing with the Deluxe Edition is giving you the peace of mind that you know when you're ready, when you have all those requirements met, you're not going to have to wait even longer because you missed an event. And once you have Poron moved in, she unlocks another visitor, who in turn unlocks another visitor. So if that's important to you, I feel like the Deluxe Edition gives you peace of mind that you won't have to wait longer than you would have otherwise because you're already covered on all of that event clothing. So if you don't log in a few days during each event, and some of the events are pretty short, maybe less than 2 weeks, you would still have those requirements covered. So that's probably about everything on the editions that we have so far. Hopefully this gives you a better idea of what the different editions across the different platforms are, what the advantages are in the Deluxe Edition. I know it is well worth the price that they've priced it at, both the regular and the Deluxe, but I know that also makes it a different kind of budgeting decision and makes it something that you may have to think about a little bit more than if it was $30 or $25. So I do plan to get it on Steam and try it out on the Steam Deck. The Steam version is Windows only. Given the support that it has, the type of game that it has, I think it should work really well on Steam Deck, but I'm planning to try that out. And then I'll also be trying it out on Switch and streaming on launch day. And I'm gonna play it on my original Switch, which is full of games and really slow. And hopefully that means however it runs on my Switch, it'll run a little bit better if you have a V2 or an OLED. I feel like even if it runs less than perfectly on day one, they will continue to improve it over time. But the game already runs really well on a wide variety of Apple devices, and they've done a lot to make sure it meets all of the minimum requirements there. So I imagine it should be able to run really well on the Switch, but we'll have to wait and see. Subscribe for more Hello Kitty Island adventure content. There are a ton of video guides on the channel, and I'm updating and adding some early game guides to get us all ready for the launch on Steam and Switch. And there's a ton more to come. Let me know what questions you still have about the game on Steam, on Switch, or in general, and I'll see what answers we can get. Turn on notifications to find out the next time we go live. I am planning to stream on the 30th when it drops. Hope to see you there. There was a tiny cuttlefish hidden somewhere in this video. Did you see where he was?